Okay, this video is finasteride toxic? Okay, finasteride is this drug that's used for men with hair loss. Okay, some people have recommended me that I go on it, but I always said, get out of here. I didn't want to ever go near that stuff. That scared the crap out of me. Putting something on my skull right next to my brain, that sounded insane. Okay, and basically, the pros are kind of a bunch of chumps. They trust the medical industry. The medical industry is not your friend. It is not designed to help you. It is designed to make money off you. There's a difference. I mean, the simple question you have to ask yourself is this: would you poison a child? I'm just serious. This is a fundamental, basic question. Would you poison a child for $100, $1,000, $10,000? What would it take? Just randomly poison a child. Okay. Most people say, I would not do that. If you got Christian ethics in you at all, you would say, I would not do that. Okay. Well, it's a very important question because you have to understand the medical profession, anybody who's read the outcomes of long-term attention deficit amphetamines knows you don't give amphetamines to children. Okay. It's obvious. But what I'm trying to tell you is, despite this being widely available, this information, every day they give tons of amphetamines to children. So that's proof that they could care less about a child and would poison a child just randomly for a couple dollars. Well, what I'm trying to say is if somebody would do that to a child randomly for a couple of dollars, what would they do to you? You're an adult. Their attitude of a child, that's an innocent victim. But an adult, if you're a dumbass and you're willing to take whatever you're sold, they're going to rip you off. And they're going to say you deserve it. You have to get this idea out here. This is no longer a Christian country. The religion of the United States is atheistic Darwinism. Atheistic Darwinism says you're not even a human. You're just an ape that talks. Nobody owes you anything. They don't owe you the truth. They don't owe you anything. Nothing. You have to understand that. And because the pros always think, oh yeah, well, what's right, what's wrong? There is no such thing as right or wrong with atheistic Darwinism. Atheistic Darwinism means whoever's got the power does whatever they want, okay? And you should be protesting atheistic Darwinism. That's where it all comes from. Okay, so anyways, here's what's going on with finasteride. So here's a foundation. And by the way, almost all these foundations are fake. They're usually owned by somebody trying to trick the pros. But for what it's worth, here's a foundation. Okay, they notice that you can get long-term, maybe permanent loss of sexual function, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, sexual anhedonia, no pleasure in sex, abnormal lack of ejaculation, shrinkage of the penis, Peyronie's disease, curvature of the penis. You can get gynecomastia, development of breasts that are like a woman. This is for a drug that's supposed to help you with hair loss, but it's getting into all these other things. You can get memory impairment that can be severe. You can have slowed down cognition, thinking, impaired problem-solving ability. You can have psychological symptoms, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, insomnia. Okay, so these are major, major problems just from taking some little drug that you hope will help you with your hair loss. And so the point is you got to be very careful. You should really sort of never volunteer to take a drug. Okay, I'm a physician. I got tons of friends that are doctors. I could take any pill I want, any supplement I want. I don't take anything except the simplest form of methylcobalamin B12 because I'm a vegan. That's it. And so, okay, I'm going to show you a couple more slides, just of how serious this condition is. So here's the first paper. Side effects of finasteride. Could they be permanent? Yeah. And again, despite discontinuing the medication, people have had persistent sexual dysfunction for over 6 years, as well as cognitive dysfunction, abnormal sensations in the genitalia. And these are all otherwise healthy young men, okay? And these persistent side effects, they can last a long time, years. Okay, here's one paper. Here's another paper. Post-finasteride syndrome. They call it PFS, post-finasteride syndrome. Used for androgenic alopecia, hair loss in men. They talk about, again, loss of libido, decreased arousal, inability to achieve an orgasm, depression, anxiety, cognition complaints that persist after drug withdrawal. Okay, medical communities, PFS. In many medical communities, they will not recognize the disease. So you see how screwed the patient is? They take a drug, it causes a terrible side effect that's very debilitating, can ruin their whole life, and then they go to some medical clinic and they say, oh, that doesn't exist. They're like, bullshit. There's a bunch of papers on it. It's pretty well known it exists, okay? But they'll even deny the patient it exists. So the patient, let's say, tries to get reimbursement for it. And they'll just tell them, no, it doesn't even exist. So the patient's screwed, okay? Major side effects. The medical community won't even acknowledge that that's their problem. And they're just screwed. Okay, so it's very dangerous to take pills and drugs. You should be afraid of pills and drugs. You should fear them is the intelligent response. Okay? Persistent side effects, let's see what else. We talk about physical, sexual, neurological, reproductive side effects, mental side effects, besides the sexual dysfunction, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, all this stuff. Okay? So PFS is real, and it can be very bad. And, I don't know that much about it. I just heard about it because a viewer is very concerned that his son is having a severe PFS syndrome, which, I'm sorry about that, but it's new to me. And then the question is, well, what could you do? I made a YouTube video on this channel called How to Heal Anything. And the gist of it is you need to start thinking intelligently about healing. Number one, everything heals better with good blood flow. So what can you do for good blood flow? Low fat, low sodium diet with no oil. Then you get better blood flow to all those tissues and they're more likely to recover. You want to have a good functioning immune system. How does your immune system function? Same diet, low fat, low sodium, no oil, because high fat diets impair immune function. You also want to minimize stress. The high protein, high fat diets, they also activate the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, and that can cause insomnia, lack of sleep. You need to sleep because excessive stress will cause elevated cortisol, which impairs the immune system, okay, and catecholamines. So you want to avoid excessive stress. You want to get your sleep. So you want to avoid caffeine, because caffeine also raises the same hormones. Cortisol and catecholamines will impair your immune system. You want to avoid drugs that can impair your healing, things like NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, corticosteroid drugs. You want to try to avoid sleep deprivation because that raises the same hormones, cortisol, that impair your immune system. Okay. You want to avoid excessive dietary salt. It's a vasoconstrictor, so it's going to drop blood supply to your lesion. So those are things I would immediately do. I'll put a link to my video below about how to heal anything. And just the point is, these are basic principles of healing anything. So I hope this helps. And in the meantime, don't take any medicines unless you absolutely have to and don't have a choice. Think about it if you've got time, if you're allowed to.